أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة ونخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان والأرض وضعها للأنام. This is ayat number 10 of Surah Ar-Rahman. And the earth He laid out for the creatures. Ayat number 11 فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام. Therein is fruit and palm trees having sheets of dates. We have made an attempt to understand the term fakha in verse number 11. Fakha means fruits of berries like grapes borne by vines, which could be eaten without a processing. The vine represents the state of the mu'min, the man of Iman, as we have seen while going through ayah number 6, which says, both the vine and the tree are in prostration. وَالنَّجْمُ وَالشَّجَرُ يَسْجُدَانِ, and the vines and the trees prostrate. The sweet fruits of Iman, translated roughly as devotion, emerge in the qalb of the believer, the mu'min. It is the spiritual fruit for the nafs, the spiritual being. It is the starting point of ilm. Ilm means the spiritual knowledge that encompasses worldly knowledge. Ilm is from al-alim, the all-knowing, and is undivided. A divided knowledge is harmful to humanity and it causes atrocities. Inshallah, we will try to see its aspects as we go up the ladder of ilm. Consumption of fakha imparts instant spiritual energy as it is easily digested and assimilated. This energy keeps the qalb open for the nafs to access the Quran inside. The energy level goes up and down, inconsistent with the iman in the qalb, which calls for regular recharging through ibadah, worship, keeping obedience. The fall in iman might cause the mind to become disinterested in the recharging, creating ghafla or callousness. Worldly preoccupations enhance ghafla and allow iman to train. A qalb that is trained of iman succumbs to attacks from within and outside, as is the case with the ripe grapefruits that are unprotected. Such attacks by the shayateen or devils from jinn and man would make the qalb diseased. A diseased qalb produces the munafiq or the hypocrite. It is the most dangerous stage that awaits a mu'min who cannot advance towards taqwa. the steady state of Iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the condition of the munafiq in Surah Al-Baqarah from verses 8 to 20. It is said in ayat 10, في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرضا ولهم عذاب أليم بما كانوا يكذبون. In their hearts is a disease, so Allah has increased their disease, and for them is a painful punishment because they habitually used to lie. The hearing and the vision of the nafs are still kept functional so that he could see in the light of the lightning and hear and feel the thunderous outpour, which are strong signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enveloping him to bring back to the path of Iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala seals the qalb that is incurably diseased, so that what little is left of the rahmah is preserved. The munafiq retains his human nature, but as a disbeliever. ذلك بأنهم آمنوا ثم كفروا فطبع على قلوبهم فهم لا يفقهون. المنافقون. Third ayah. That is because they declared faith, then disbelieved. Thus a seal has been set on their hearts, and hence they do not understand. Yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would be pushing and pulling through his signals, prompting the disbeliever to see his rahmah for reopening the qalb. In case he regains Iman, the nafs might draw energy as if from a long-stored source of dried fruits. The case of the mu'min is like that of the vulnerable vine, which requires strengthening through counseling, using props of truth and patience. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands to inculcate brotherhood amongst mu'mins, so that those who, having low levels of Iman, are not driven into the state of suspicion and hypocrisy. He subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Wal asr," by the time, innal insana lafi khusr, man is indeed in a state of loss. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Except those believed and did righteous deeds and exhorted each other to follow truth and exhorted each other to observe patience. The muttaqin, the people of taqwa, extends the shade of protection to the vulnerable believer. The muhsin, the people of ihsan, keeps them close abreast as the tree does to the vine. Now we will revisit ayah number 10. وَالْأَرْضَ وَضَعَهَا لِلْأَنَامِ. The earth is placed for its anam, creatures. Anam also means cattle. In the context of verse 11, it refers to the 5 groups of cattle, namely the sheep, goat, cow, buffalo, and camel, which serve as sources of food. They represent the 5 senses of body. Earth is the metaphor for the body. The sadr, or the mind, is the shepherd that controls the cattle or the varieties of sheep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided the senses with their own wisdom. It is because of the fitrah, the inborn inclination in the receptors. But the unguided mind intervenes, forcing them to browse according to its understanding, its likes and dislikes, and its whims and fancies. Thus the senses get conditioned in the ways of the mind through the brain. The indiscriminate, sometimes transgressive and avaricious browsing harms the physical being and emboldens the sadr to dominate over and oppress the nerves. A sadr that has ended the sajda disciplines the senses. As a righteous shepherd, it prevents the flock of the senses from unhealthy, wild browsing. The spiritual rizq mentioned in ayat number 11, namely the fruits, the dates, the grain, and the spices are exclusive to the nafs of that committed shepherd who clothes the senses in hijab. Their consumption takes him higher up in ilm. It is decreased for women who could be easy victims of harmful browsing to wear external hijab as a protective cover in order to keep off misguided and stray cattle. Such internal and external hijabs protect the individual as a whole. They eliminate corruption in the society that disrupts internal harmony. The wilful corruption of the by the disbelievers and the hypocrites, and the inadvertent corruption by the ignorant. Allah A'lam, inshallah, we will deal with the palm tree in ayah 11, in the ayah 11 in the next episode.